Hello and welcome to ReturnZap. My name's David. I'm going to walk through a sample return using the customer-facing returns portal to show you from a customer perspective what it looks like to use ReturnZap to initiate a return, some of the features within the returns portal, and how to submit a return. And then we'll toggle over and look at the ReturnZap backend to show you how from an admin perspective you can actually process that return and then some of the key features and settings available to you. So this is the customer-facing returns portal. It can be customized to fit your brand with colors, text, fonts, all of that. And it can be embedded anywhere on your Shopify site, or you can link to it externally on a page which we'll create on your behalf. The customer will look up their order using their email address and their order number. They can also use phone number and or billing zip code, or just their email address. When they hit search, we're going to check the items in their order against your returns policy, which you can configure in the backend with ReturnZap, to see things like the date since order, the date since delivery, or if certain items are final sale or otherwise excluded from return. The customer will then be able to initiate a return by selecting the product. They can choose from one of the custom return reasons which you set up. They can change the quantity, obviously. And based on the reason that they select, we can ask for some follow-up information, for example, an image upload or something like that. We can also customize and change what's available to the customer based on the return reason they select. So for example, if they say this item was damaged, maybe you'd like to offer them a refund and cover the cost of a prepaid return shipping label. But if they say, I changed my mind, perhaps you only want to offer an exchange and it's on them to cover the cost of shipping. All of that is possible. So I'll select change my mind with this first example. I'll select store credit on this one. You can see we can also configure a bonus incentive to incentivize customers to select store credit instead of a refund. On this one, I'll select exchange for this one. And with the ReturnZap, you have the option to allow inline exchange for different variants. In this case, I'll just swap it out for a different color. And on this one, I'll go in and I'll just do a refund. We can, of course, accept comments as well. You can make this optional or required. Customer will then review the return and select from one of up to 3 different shipping methods, which you can configure. The first is to offer a prepaid shipping label. So we have a variety of ways to connect a courier account, which you might already have, to offer a prepaid shipping label. And then we also have partners that can offer a turnkey solution, which can provide you with an account if you don't already have one. Customer can also ship themselves by arranging their own shipping, or we allow them to purchase a return shipping label directly through the portal. I'm just going to select ship myself and I'm going to submit the return. In the backend, we're going to sync the status of the return to the Shopify order. In this case, it's automatically been approved, but we also have the ability to configure approval of return requests if that's part of your policy. So the customer won't immediately receive a return shipping label. So that's the customer-facing process. Notifications can be triggered in the background, and we'll now toggle over and look at the backend to see how we'll actually process the return once it's received back to you. Okay, I've now toggled over to the backend of ReturnZap, where we will go ahead and process the return, which we just submitted. ReturnZap embeds directly into the Shopify admin, and you access it through your normal Shopify credentials. The default screen will be a dashboard showing you all of your active returns, as well as some analytics and reporting about return metrics, most commonly return products, that kind of stuff. When we actually process a return, we go to the Returns tab here, and we see a list of all of our returns. This can be filtered, exported, sorted, all of that. So you are able to see at a glance all of the returns that you need to take action on. If I click on the return, this is where we're actually going to see the items in the return, the details about what the customer requested, and process the returns directly through ReturnZap to disposition them, issue refunds, and essentially close out the return. So the first step will be that I can mark the return as received within ReturnZap. Here you have the option to restock through the application by checking the box and selecting the warehouse. If I hit Update to Received with the restock, we're syncing the status back to Shopify on the order page. So we can do things like refund, issue credit, and complete the exchange all through ReturnZap. So let's do that. Here I'm going to click the button to issue the refund, where I'll select the one item for refund in this return, calculate the amount due to the customer with the product total, taxes, shipping. You have the option to deduct a fee as well for restocking, and you can issue the refund right through the application. Next, we'll do store credit, which operates much the same way. Here we have the bonus credit applied from the returns portal, the option to deduct a fee, and I'll issue store credit. In this case, we've issued a gift card for the value of the return. We can also issue a discount code if that's something that you prefer. We can then process the exchange. We've created a draft order here, which we can complete, which will have a 100% discount for the customer, and it'll be a like-for-like variant exchange. This can all be configured within the ReturnZap settings. If I toggle over to that, you have the option to define each of your return policies individually, the option to configure how you'd like to handle exchanges, as well as store credit, and some of your custom return reasons down here. Other key settings within the ReturnZap application can be found within workflow and rules. I'll focus on rules right now because this is where you would basically go in and create custom returns policies to exclude things like final sale items, items which were purchased with a discount code, route returns between different warehouses. So that's all possible by defining a series of attributes and then actions. So really, that's all you need to get started with ReturnZap. I encourage you to poke around with the settings, test things out, use our free trial, and by all means, please reach out if you have any questions. We are more than happy to help. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you.